to the 5th day of week of webinars. So while we head into the session, I would like to read out few rules which has to be followed by all the participants for the smooth ongoing of the session. So rule number 1, everyone should mute their microphones. No one is allowed to present or catch their screen or turn on the video. No multiple chances will be given to the participants. Once he leaves the meeting, he will not be rejoined. You can turn on your mic only if the speaker asks you to turn on. If any mischief or any disturbance is being found by the participant, he or she will be removed immediately without prior notice. All the problems should be messaged to the event coordinators along with the screenshot. Today's event coordinators are Pranay and Jahnavi. You can find their numbers in the mail that we have sent to you. So now I request today's event coordinator Pranay to give the bio of the speaker. Thank you.
Maishu.
Good evening, one and all. This is Jahnavi, Student Coordinator of Csi Mvsr. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the webinar on Full Stack Development by Mr. Kiran Kumar Chennakeshavada as a part of webinar series organized by Csi Mvsr Student Branch. Let me introduce you to our speaker with a short introduction before we start the webinar. Mr. C. Kiran Kumar has completed his BSc in Computer Science Engineering from Loyola Academy, Osmania University in the year 1995. He graduated from Manpower Development College, Osmania University in MCA in 1998. He is a certified Scrum Master and has worked in Agile and Extreme Programming. He is a DevOps practitioner and AWS Solution Architect Associate from Simplilearn. He is a program and delivery manager having 21 plus years of work experience across Europe, US, and Malaysia. He has managed and delivered Java, J2EE, SAP, and cloud solutions for global companies. His industrial preferences include automotive, consumer goods, industrial equipment, and telecom. He worked as Senior Project Manager with L&T Infotech Hyderabad and as Vice President Delivery with Screep Technologies. He worked as manager at Accenture India Private Limited Hyderabad as a consultant at Canway India. He also worked as Senior Software Engineer at Satyam Computer Services Limited. He started his journey as a programmer at Xeramsoft Limited Hyderabad and is currently working as a data scientist. Now, I'd request Mr. Kiran Kumar sir to proceed with the session.
Hi all, able to hear me? Yes, sir. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no?
No, sir.
I've actually shared my screen, so just want to know.
Yes, sir, we are able to see your screen.
Okay, great. Fine, so let's start on. So I would be taking the full stack webinar as requested with Krishna Garu and Bhavani madam. So let's go ahead. This would be basically an overview of the full stack. Let's go ahead. So I will be talking about the first one is meet the presenter. Well, Janvi Garu has already given an overview of my details. I'll again go back on it. Then I'll talk about the full stack development. What are the layers that are used in a full stack? What technologies do come under the full stack, front end, back end, and the other details I will be covering up. And also I will be explaining about the advantages and disadvantages of full stack. Then what would be the types of full stack which are available, and what are the prospects basically on full stack. So that would be interesting for you people. And then the call to action. So pretty simple and neat, very simple slides. So I hope you can directly understand it. But yeah, I'll give you an overview on that. Is my voice clear, audible, guys? Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. I am Kiran Kumar Csi, having around 21 plus years of experience. I have played many roles, basically the delivery manager, technical architect, and the business analyst across various projects. Also, I've conducted many technical and behavioral trainings, technical in Java, J2E, C++, and even SAP. And also in behavioral, I have given trainings on what we can say is the project management and Scrum. So, though my primary role or my accountability, whatever you call, is a delivery manager, I have played different roles when I'm doing a delivery manager itself. So even though if I don't perform the other roles, it would have been fine for me. But my interest is also to be working on technical aspects and as well as business analyst roles. So that is how I landed up in doing multiple roles, even though when I'm a delivery manager or a program manager. Okay. So yeah, my story. Okay, around 1998 end of time, I was started with C and C++ initially. Worked on a couple of projects on C++, then into VC++, and then I moved into Java and Oracle. Completed my Sun certified Java programmer certification. Worked on many projects in Java. Later on, I moved to Accenture, and when I moved to Accenture, they asked me to move into SAP. I thought that was a radical shift because Java is on one side and SAP is on another side. But yeah, I took up the challenge, moved into SAP, performed well, and then also managed SAP projects on NetWeaver. Worked on WebSphere, NoSQL databases, Google Golang, and now also cloud. So I'll just share a small snippet of my work case. I was into some on-site in Italy to provide an architecture on how to how a web service is going to be integrated with SAP. Web service with e-commerce portal. So I have given the architecture based on the e-commerce and SAP NetWeaver process integration, which is an EAI, and shared it with the client. Client was pretty happy. He told me, "Yes, very good. It is nice, but we are not using NetWeaver." So then I asked him, "So what is the EAI you have been using?" I mentioned them that I've been using. They mentioned that they are using WebSphere Integration Developer. So I just came back, checked up in my Accenture who have been actually working on WebSphere integration. Most of them were working with WebSphere portals, but none of them with integration. So to check back into Google, do some R&D on the WebSphere site, and within 2 days, I've given the architecture using WebSphere, the integration of e-commerce with SAP. Client was pretty happy, and we got the project. So that was kind of roles where you should be pretty dynamic here in software, where you can play multiple roles. Okay. So one thing what I always follow, or I always think, and you should follow, is change is the only thing which is constant. So you would be constantly changing your technology or the roles, whatever is it. So see my case, like right from C to C++, now I'm into cloud, Google Golang, which are the current latest technologies. So it is always good to go be with the market. I mean, read about the market changes in the market, and then try to upgrade yourself constantly, because change is the only thing which is constant. So full stack is one of those changes to the market recently. So, and then one needs to adapt the change for better future. So in case you want to have a better future, you have to adapt to full stack. Most of them would be knowing bits and pieces of what are things you're doing. But yeah, full stack has recently been into picture where it has come into market basically because people are looking for more of cost savings. So I'll just give you those details of how full stack, what full stack is, and how do we go ahead with full stack. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. POW. So can anyone in the team maybe can let me know what POW stand for? Can anyone? How do I know like if someone is speaking or someone is answering on this? Janvi garu?
Actually, everyone has muted their audio, sir, to avoid
So,
disturbance. So whenever
okay.
you ask them to speak, they will unmute and they'll
Yeah, can you
or you'll
unmute?
be receiving messages in the chat.
Yeah, message also should be fine. So anyone, if you can let me know what POW is, or maybe you can unmute a couple of people, not a problem, if they can answer. Anyone on a message or maybe on a speaker, you can give me an idea what does POW stands for.
Many are giving messages, sir.
Okay, what do they say? I think I can't see the messages, so.
Power of website, proof of work, power of will, prisoner of war, proof of work.
Good, I like the answers. But yeah, it is individual. Each things are individual. P stands for purpose. So if you start off any meetings or anything when you're going in your future, if you're going to conduct any meetings as such, you need to follow this POW concept. P stands for purpose. Purpose is what is the purpose of this meeting.
Purpose of work.
Yes, the purpose of this meeting here is to give an overview of what full stack is to people. So without the purpose, the meeting doesn't seem like a meeting as such. So the main purpose of this particular webinar is to give an overview of what does full stack stand for. Okay. So now I think if you can let me know what does O stand for. Now it would be related to POW, right? Related to purpose, something like that.
Purpose overview work. It seems some are giving me answer.
Purpose overview work. Okay. What else? Any other answers?
Purpose of work, or it's any kind of
Okay, I'll go on with this. O stands for objective. So what was the objective? So what you should be gaining after this particular webinar? So your objective here is to at least know the basics of full stack. You need to understand what full stack is and how you are going to make your future if you are going to use or utilize full stack. So it's an objective. Generally, you can take it as whatever is the objective for you to be here. Okay. So P stands for purpose, O stands for objective. So what does W stand for? Generally, in any meeting, you should be stating your P and O, purpose and objective. W should automatically come into the picture. So let me know, anyone can give an answer on W. What does W mean? Did I get any answers, sir?
Few answers include work, sir.
Okay. What else?
Wait.
Any other answer? Okay. So it should be related to P and O. So it should be related to the purpose and objective. It should be related. So this would help you out even in the future whenever you go for any meetings. This POW must be there. So you should be stating the purpose and objective, and W will be decided by the team itself. So W stands for WIIFM, that is what is in it for me. So why should I attend this meeting? So that is one what each individual participant should be knowing. Like if you're going to be called for any meetings as such, you should be knowing what is W, what is it for you. If there is nothing which you can contribute to or learn from the meeting, it is always better that you might not need to be joining that particular meeting. So for the W for this meeting would be understood once when you come to the end of this particular webinar. Okay, if anyone did not get the W, let me know. We will discuss on this. Okay, is that fine with you guys?
Yes,
Did we get this?
I did not get it, sir, exactly.
W is WIIFM, which is what is in it for me. So means for every individual, why should I attend this particular meeting? What is it for me? Okay. So this W will be known to you guys by the end of this particular webinar. Once the webinar is done, you should be knowing what you have gained actually. Okay. If any of you will not get the W by the end of this particular webinar, let me know, we can talk. Is that fine? Did I get any yes or no response?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's go further. So this is the primary main slide, which would actually cover the entire jinx or gist of the particular full stack. Okay. So the definition, what generally is given in the textbooks, I'm just going to read the definition as such. It says full stack refers to an entire computer system or application from front end to the back end and the software code that connects these two. Front end is the view and back end is the business logic connected with the databases. Okay, we will talk about this going forward. Okay, so full stack developer is someone who is familiar with all layers of software development. So when you use this SDLC, software development lifecycle, the full stack developer should be familiar with all the layers in the SDLC. Okay, these developers or people, they aren't expert in everything. So you do not be expert in everything that comes under full stack, but you should be having the functional knowledge to finish and develop the entire product. Suppose the product has been assigned to you and there are multiple phases to it. You should be comfortable in handling those phases and deliver the related work. So let's see what would be the roles in a software. Okay, in a software there are many roles. Primarily, I'll discuss some of the roles, which would be the project manager. The project manager is a person who would handle the project or who would manage the project, the delivery of the project along with the team. He is also going to manage the team and team members, and he is going to resolve the issues if anything has been for the team members. And he is also used to resolve the conflict management. In case any team members have conflict between each of them, they are going to resolve it. Another role is going to be business analyst, where he is going to go and talk to the client, understand the requirements, and prepare functional designs. And there is a functional or business analyst role is going to be actually split or divided. It is divided between two things. One would be regular software development. The other one would be a package software development. So package software development means you're going to use a package software such as the PeopleSoft or SAP. So there would be a specific difference between people who work as a business analyst in a packaged application and in a non-packaged application. Okay. Example, suppose you're working in a Java or a C++ or a CH project. A role of a business analyst is pretty simple here. He is directly going to talk to the client, understand the requirements, and prepare the functional design documents. Whereas if you're working in a project which is on SAP or a PeopleSoft, you will be doing the same things, like you will be going to the client, you will be talking to the client on the functional details, prepare functional designs, but here you should be having the functional or domain knowledge of the system. Example, suppose you take about SAP. SAP has many modules called as FICO, that is finance and controllership. Then you have SAP SD, which is SAP sales and development. You have MM, material management. So SAP has a lot of different modules, and a business analyst must be having a knowledge of either of these when they are going to work with a client. So that is the basic difference between a business analyst in a packaged software and in a non-packaged software. The next role would come about a technical architect or a technical analyst, or who does a design, and the designer. So technical architect, designers, then comes the role of a developer who is going to do code, then comes the role of a tester who is going to do the testing of the applications as such. Then you get a role of a deployment manager, or who does the deployment of the software. Then also you have the DBA roles who are going to manage your databases, or maybe the network managers. So once you're going to get into full stack developer, apart from the roles of a business analyst and the role of a DBA, rest all roles would be combined. So you should be playing all the roles. You should be playing the part of a project manager. You should be playing the part of a technical architect. You should be playing complete roles of your designer, your developer, your tester, and a deployer. The only roles which don't get touched by a full stack is going to be a business analyst. There we need a pure cut business analyst with a domain knowledge and as well as a different role as such. And the next one is going to be your DBA. So DBA is going to be a database administrator who is going to set up the database and who is going to set up the network connections. So is this clear to all of you? What roles do come under a business, also under a functional full stack development or a full stack developer? I want to know some responses. So is this clear, or you want any more details on this?
Can you please brief out how many days are required for each role? Like
How many?
testing? How much time, like for a complete project to be developed?
See,
Which type of
that depends. For a project, if you are going to go for a SDLC, a software development lifecycle method, it takes around 6 months to 1 year, or it takes more than 1 year based on the size of the project. If it is a complex project, it does take a lot of time. But nowadays, most of the work is going to be done in sprints, which is going to be a 2-week delivery, where you are going to deliver a minimum viable product. So you are going to deliver a software component or a part of the project in 2 to 3 weeks time, and you're going to deploy it, and that is going to be individually working file. It should be like a minimum viable product, and that can be initially first 1 or 2 sprints. It can be an independent object, and then this can be reused in the coming up future projects, future models, in fact. So based on the type of work, SDLC or sprints in Scrum, this particular timeline or this particular work does split. So that's all based upon the projects, for complexity of the projects and the type of work we are going to do ahead. Nowadays, most of the people are going to go with sprints, because in sprints we can tackle different changes dynamically. Whereas in SDLC, it is going to be difficult. SDLC comes like your functional software. You are going to get your functional documents first, then you're going to do the design, development, testing, everything. So if you are into development stage and you get a change in the functionality, again you have to go back. You have to roll back to the stop. Again, you have to start from the functional designing, because you cannot continue from where you are there. Whereas in sprints or in Scrum, when you're going to work on, you can take changes dynamically and you can incorporate the changes when and where. So that is where is a major difference, and that's where you come across with the number of days or roles that is being decided by your project manager and the technical architect at the start of the project, and they are going to give you those details. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next one of the most famous statements: jack of all, master of none. I think most of the people would have heard this particular statement, right? In software, earlier days, it was jack of all, master of one. So you should be a master in one particular technology, and you should be knowing all the other technologies which are going to come up. You should be having an idea of whatever is what. Nowadays, it got changed. Now it says people would follow a pi model than a T model. T model is breadth across and one depth, which is master of one and jack of all. Now they say about a pi model, which is going to be jack of all and master of at least two. So that is how the industry is changing. And full stack is something which is going to be a subset of this, which actually means you have to be a jack of all, that is mandatory. And then master of one or two is what you can decide based on your interest. But the minimum detail for a full stack developer is to be a jack of all. You should be a person who should be knowing your functional, the front end work. You should be knowing your business logic work, you should be knowing about the servers work, servers, you should be knowing about the database, you should be knowing about everything. But not if you want to be a master, yes, that is up to you. But here you should be comfortable in delivering this particular task individually. If I give you a project, you are going to do all these tasks individually, and you should be in a position to handle this along with the client expectations, and you have to be talking to the client and getting up the requirements as such. So full stack is something which is going to be mandatory, requires jack of all. The master is what you can decide based on your interest. You can, if you like any of the technology while you're working on particular full stack details, you can do as well, go into the depth of those particular technologies as such. The required situation in the market as of now is master of at least 2 technologies. But again, if you want to be a proper full stack guy, you can survive with jack of all, where you're able to manage your entire project single-handedly. This is the crux of full stack. Any doubts here, guys? I can spend time here because this is the most important concept here. Sir, let me know if there are any doubts on this. I can explain.
If anyone of you are having any doubts, you can message in the chat or unmute
Please, this is
yourself
important.
and ask sir. Whenever sir asks.
This is important because you should be knowing what full stack is. How does it work in the market? Any doubts here, you can stop me. I am willing to repeat, and I'm going to make you understand. If it is fine, let me know. I can go ahead with the next steps. I can wait. I can wait on this because this is important.
They are asking to continue, sir.
Great. Okay. And another important thing which I want an answer from you guys. How does one eat an elephant? It's a famous question. So you can laugh on this or you can answer on this. How does one eat an elephant? Sir, let me know if I get any answers on this. If you're laughing, also send the message, laughing message to you, sir, not a problem. If you're a vegetarian, you can also mention that I don't eat elephants. Do I get any answer, sir, on this?
Cook it and eat it, seems.
Cook it and eat it. Okay. The whole elephant, that's difficult. Okay. Next, any other answers?
No one can eat them.
No one can eat them. if you go ahead with that statement, no one can eat them. Okay. Here, an elephant is a software project. Okay. So you cannot, any point of time, you cannot do a project on a whole. So you cannot cook the project whole. You have to break that into multiple bits. So you can say you can eat an elephant bite by bite. Okay. And each bite is going to be a sprint if you're going to work on a Scrum based project, or it is going to be a module if you're going to work on a SDLC project. So you can say, suppose if your project has around 50 screens to be designed or developed. So you're going to take first 5 screens immediately, develop those 5 screens, and then go with the next 10 screens, and then go with the next 5 screens. So based on the complexity and based on the priority of the tasks, you're going to break the project into multiple smaller tasks, and you're going to build them. And if they are actually going to be reused, you're going to make them reuse in the next tasks. So that is what is an answer. If you're going to eat an elephant, it should be bite by bite. So you cannot cook the elephant whole, and you cannot say no one eats elephants, because here an elephant is a software project, and your role based on your what skill you have chosen, most of them I think are on computer science. So you should be in a position to deliver the projects, and you cannot deliver an entire project on a whole. You have to break them into multiple modules, and then you're going to deliver and deploy each of the specific modules to get the project done. Clear with this? Guys, I want an answer on this. If everything is fine, I'll go with the next screens, or else I can just stop here because this is important about the full stack and the modules. So let me know if anyone has any questions on this, okay? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Great. Next screen. Okay. Just going on building up on what basis I have given in the earlier slide. So I'm saying here is a full stack developer is an engineer who can handle all the work of the databases, the servers, systems engineering, and clients. Depending on the project, what customers need may be a mobile stack, a web stack, or a native application stack. So I just stop here. A mobile stack is something where whatever you're going to develop, some clients may ask that they need to see their entire project or a website, whatever is there, is going to be on a mobile. So you are going to develop the particular site, so it works on a desktop. It should be also compatible with the mobile. So the screening and the layout should be perfectly fitting to the mobile, because the mobile screen is smaller when compared to a desktop screen. So that is where the mobile stack, and it has to work on all the three kind of mobiles, which is going to be your Android mobiles, your iOS mobiles, and the Windows mobiles. So it should be working on all of them. And that is where you have to design, or you have to make a front end, which is going to be the view in your MVC architecture, compatible with all the mobiles. A web stack is where you are going to write, or you are going to write your app or a website, which is going to completely work on your desktop, and your web, which is going to be your front end, back end, and your databases. Okay, that's the entire concept of your MVC, where you're going to break up on your web stack. A native application stack is similar to a mobile one, but here, if you're going to write an Android, if you work for Android specifically, you are going to learn a specific language called as Android development. If you are going to work on an iOS application, you are going to work on Spark and Swift, which is specific to iOS. So here the technology is going to be changed, and you're going to make sure your entire application is going to be developed based on that particular technology only. So, and for Android, you need to use Kotlin, or you need to use Android. For an iOS application, you need to use Swift and Spark. So technologies do change here, and you're going to build a native application to that particular mobiles. So if you build it for an iOS, it works only on an iOS mobile. It doesn't work on your Android mobile. And if you're going to build it for an Android mobile, you are going to make it work only on Android, but not in iOS. So that is where it's going to be a native application stack. Whereas a general mobile stack is going to be a hybrid stack, wherein you can build up everything using hybrid technologies like HTML and CSS, and you can make your application work on all the mobiles. So guys, clear with this stack, the mobile stack, which is going to be a hybrid stack, and the native stack. If there is any doubt, do ask the question. I'm going to repeat. Firefox, it can work also on IE. Okay. So that is where the full stack layers are there. So the operating system, the databases, the web server where you're going to deploy the code, the server side where you're going to write a business logic, the browsers where you're going to display the front end screens, and the client screen code, client side code is where you're going to write your client code for code to be displayed on the browsers. Can you go to the next screen, please? Yeah. The front end technologies, the most common front end technologies which are being used nowadays are the HTML, hypertext markup language. This is being used from quite some years. The latest version is HTML5, which is going on now. CSS, the cascading style sheets, where you can put in some display, where you're going to use the style sheets for a different layout. You're going to use Ember.js, Backbone.js, and jQuery, which are all the different types of the JavaScript nowadays for doing the JavaScript coding. And then you've got three JavaScript, main JavaScript modules, which are going to be called as the Angular, the Vue.js, and React.js. So these three are the JavaScript frameworks which are able to go ahead and do your front screen, your client screen rendering in your browsers. So these three are preferably called, or most commonly called as the SPA, single page applications, which means there is no need for you to refresh the page. So once you have created any app using your Angular, Vue.js or React.js, and you're going to change the code automatically is going to be rendered in the browser and displayed. So there's no need for you to refresh the page after you have done the changes as such. So that is the advantage here, where they are being called as your single page applications. That is Angular, Vue, and React.js. So of these three, nowadays, React is the most popular up to next year, 2021 onwards, up to 2021. Then Vue.js may take over. Angular is good, but for most of the cases, it has got a lot of overheads, and people are now trying to slowly move from Angular into React.js and Vue.js. So these are the different frameworks of HTML and from JavaScript, which are being used for the front-end technologies. Can you go to the next screen, please? The next screen is going to be your back-end technologies, which is going to be your languages where you're going to write your business logic. Most commonly, Java has been used earlier for most of the cases. But now what happened is Java is currently into version number 14. Earlier, Java was free, open source. But after Java 8, Oracle has made Java as paid for most of the work now. If you're going to do any specific work for the clients, Java is going to be paid. If you're only going to do some R&D in your systems, it is free. But for other work, it is going to be paid. And Oracle has removed the support for Java 8 this year, Jan. It has removed support for Java 8. So whatever next versions of Java you're going to work on are going to be paid for from Oracle. So that's because, because since Java has now been a paid language, the other languages grew into picture. The other one is Google Golang, which is going to be most commonly being used nowadays. It is improved quite a bit from the last 2 years. It has been developed by Google, and they say it is going to be faster than Java execution files. Then you've got PHP, which you're going to do your server-side coding for PHP. Then you've got Python, which is also a very good tool. Recently, last 2 years, Python has mentioned that has overtaken Java in popularity. It has earlier been used as a web-based development tool, but nowadays it's also being used for the data science. Then you've got Ruby, Scala, Node.js, and Ch. All these particular technologies can be used for writing your business logic code in the backend technologies. So can you go to the next slide, please? The next slide is going to be databases. This is an interesting slide. The first two, MySQL and PostgreSQL, are RDBMS. I think you have been using or working on RDBMS for quite some time. The other 5, which are MongoDB, CouchDB, Redis, Neo4j, Cassandra, are all called as NoSQL. NoSQL means not NoSQL, it means not only SQL. So these particular technologies are being used so as to work on with the big data. So they are specifically for working with big data. You have got something called as these NoSQL databases, and these are here to handle your big data. And this came into picture once Facebook and Netflix have come into picture. They are going to use data more than we used to use when we were working on Oracle or MySQL databases earlier. The data which is being transferred nowadays using this particular social media, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, is going to be in terabytes. And to handle the terabytes, RDBMS doesn't support it, because RDBMS can only do vertical scaling and horizontal scaling is not possible. So based on this, to handle big data, we got into NoSQL. There are 4 types of NoSQL. If you can just note down, there are 4 types. The first type is key value pair, where data is being stored in keys and values. And this particular database is called as Redis, which is actually going to support your key value pairs. The second kind of NoSQL is called as column-based NoSQL, which is going to be your Cassandra, where data is being stored in column-wise format rather than your row-wise format in your RDBMS. The third one is called as the document-based NoSQLs, wherein you're going to use your MongoDB and CouchDB, which are going to store your data in documents. And these are all capable of storing unstructured data, which can not only store structured data, but they can store unstructured data like graphs, like streaming videos, everything apart from whatever is your structured data. The fourth one is called as the graph databases, which is called as Neo4j, which is mostly used as the graph database. So nowadays, NoSQL is gaining more popularity, And Cassandra and MongoDB are these two which have been pretty much doing very good. And nowadays even Redis is picked up pretty well. So in case people you are interested in working on this particular NoSQL databases, again you're free to reach out to me and I can guide you going forward. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm just taking a pause here. If you have any questions related to your backend, front end, and databases, including SQL and NoSQL, please shoot out your questions. I'll answer them and then move forward. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions, or can I move forward?
Continue.
Okay. The next one is the servers. Servers where you're actually going to deploy. Earlier, there used to be WebSphere, WebLogic, most of the cases. Later on, the current trend of people now using these servers are going to be Apache and Nginx. Nginx is now most common, the most latest one, which has got a lot of scaling opportunities and which is able to support your data from the big data and display it on the front end screens. So Nginx and Apache are the now most common servers which are being used. Next slide, please. Next one is cloud. So even cloud does come into picture here. So earlier what happened is we used to do the entire development on your on-prem, where you're going to have your server and the client machines, everything at your own place in your own premises. Nowadays we got into cloud, where you're going to have the benefit of cost saving, where you go with as a pay as you use. So whatever you are going to use, you can pay for that. And there are a lot of clouds which have been into picture nowadays. Most common being the Amazon Web Services, also called as AWS, the Google Cloud, Azure from the Microsoft. You have got the DigitalOcean, the IBM Cloud, and Alibaba also are the different cloud environments which are being used nowadays. The most, why do we need cloud here in the full stack development is when you're going to do the migration of your tool. Suppose you're going to do a migration from your on-prem to your cloud. Suppose you want to move your database, which is in your on-prem, and you're going to plan to move it into your cloud. You can move it into cloud where every cloud has your storage. Example, you can call as S3 in AWS, which is called as server site storage, simple storage for S3 in AWS, and then you're going to use also for use VMs, virtual machines. You can create a lot of virtual machines in your cloud. You can go into Google Cloud, create a VM instance with the desired environment, whatever environment you want, you can create it. There are a lot of environments available. You can have an environment of Unix, you can have an environment of Linux, you have Red Hat, then you can use Ubuntu, you can use CentOS, all kind of databases, all kind of OS you can use in your cloud. And you can build everything on the cloud, and you can even migrate your databases to the cloud. Advantage of cloud is where you can actually have a fast turnaround, and someone else is going to manage your particular architecture or particular databases and servers in a different environment. The rest everything is going to be the same for you when you're going to work for cloud. The next screen, please. The advantages and disadvantages of a full stack. So suppose you're working on a full stack developer. The advantages is you can gain good insight in all the techniques. So I was speaking about front-end technologies, I was speaking about the business logic, that is the back-end technologies, the databases, and the server, and a bit of cloud. So all this you can get a good knowledge in all of these when you're going to work as a full stack developer. You can make any prototypes pretty rapidly, you can develop it. You can also help to all your team members in gaining knowledge on this particular full stack. You can reduce the cost of the project because here a single person is going to do a lot of work. Earlier, which multiple people would have doing it, now is being done by a single person. And then you can understand all the aspects of new and upcoming technologies. So whenever a new technology is being pressed upon and they call it as a front-end technology or a back-end technology, you can get into that and you can learn and you can gain the knowledge of that particular technologies. The disadvantage is if you can choose a solution, suppose there are multiple technologies, right? You might have chosen Angular, and then you have chosen Google Golang, and you have chosen MySQL as a database. So it might work initially for some point of time, and it might fail once there's been more data involved in it. So in cases there is a risk of the solution that can be wrong for the project. and even on the skills that developer might have a knowledge on only Angular and is being working on even Angular plus Golang plus talk about MySQL, there might be a skill issue if he is not able to be thorough with all the technologies as I've mentioned earlier. And then solution can generate a key person risk, because if one person has all the knowledge and if that person leaves the organization, then it's going to be a risk. The project might as well get stopped immediately. And the last point is, being a full stack developer might be complex, because you need to get into a lot of skills. You need to understand every technology and every skill, and you need to ensure that everything is being built as per the requirements. I take a pause here. Just let me know in case you have any questions or any comments on until now, until what has been mentioned. Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir, you can go ahead.
Okay, so can you move to the next screen, please? Okay, so there are different types of full stack available as of now. First one is called as mean stack, which has been nowadays more common, which is going to be your MongoDB as the M, E for the Express.js, A Angular, and N for the Node.js. So this stack is also called as a jog stack, and this is being used most commonly here. Earlier, the common stack used to be LAMP, where people used to work on Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So that used to be the earlier old stack, which has been, and nowadays it is going to be the mean, MERN, and MERN. MERN is going to be React is replaced Angular, which is called to be the MERN stack. And then you've got the MERN stack, which is going to be Vue.js instead of Angular and React. So Vue.js mostly is the new kid in the block as of now, and this might be more popular in the 2021. As of now, React is going to be the market leader for the front-end frameworks, JavaScript frameworks as such. The next type is the Ruby on Rails, where most of the work is being done on the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Ruby. So this is called as the Magician stack. Then you have the Java stack, which is Java and the Spring, which is called a lightweight stack, where most of the work is being done on your front end. It can be any front end with Java as the backend, core backend with the Java and the Spring. The last one is Django, which is going to be mostly worked on the Python. Python is going to be your business logic or the backend script. Rest, the front end can be anything and the backend can be anything else which you can use. So these types are pretty commonly running on most of the cases. You need to focus now on the MERN or the mean stacks, MERN or the MEAN stacks. Okay. Next slide, please. So these are the signature stacks. So most commonly you've heard of the Uber, Reddit, Pinterest, Facebook, and Airbnb. So these particular companies have already been using the full stacks, where the related technologies, the databases, framework, and server has been given here. So for Uber, they have been using Python, Java, JavaScript, and Objective-C as the languages. The databases what they were using were MySQL, PostgreSQL, and MongoDB. The framework being used as Node.js, and the server being used as Nginx and Apache. That is what is for the Uber. For Reddit, they commonly work with JavaScript and Python. The databases being the PostgreSQL and Redis. Framework is again Node.js, and most common server being used is Nginx, as I mentioned earlier. It is now being taken over as the most commonly used server. Similarly, for Pinterest, they have been using with Python, Java, and Go, along with MySQL, Hadoop, HBase, and Redis. The framework being Django, JavaScript, and MVC, and Nginx is being the server. For the Facebook, they have been using PHP, GraphSQL, and Hack. The databases being used for the Facebook are the Cassandra and RocksDB. The framework used is Tornado, and server is being used as custom or the proprietary frameworks here. The last one is the Airbnb, where they have been most commonly using JavaScript and Ruby. The databases being the MySQL, Amazon relational databases, and the Hadoop. Amazon RDS is going to be the cloud databases, which have been available in the Amazon AWS. The framework is being used is Ruby on Rails, and the server being used is the Nginx server here. Okay. So these are common signature stacks. We just to have an idea like what is being used commonly nowadays. The next slide, please. Yeah, this is an important slide which was talking about the prospects. The prospects for the past full stack is the very high demand across the world. So most of the people everywhere, they are using looking out for full stack developers because they are going to actually reduce the cost. Instead of 4 people doing a task, now they are doing single person is doing the tasks. There have been diversified job opportunities across the world. Full stack is again easy to learn if you're going to actually go with a front-end technology, a single front-end technology, a database, and a middleware, or what you can call is the business logic backend data. And there's flexibility where you can switch on to different technologies wherever you want. So the one on the right side is being the salary for the base fresher till the experts. For India, the average salary is 6.3 lakhs per annum for a fresher. If you say you are just no full stack and you're out of the college and you're going for a fresher job, the minimum salary you would be getting is 6.3 lakh per annum. That is in India. If you go to Dubai, it is going to be 6,295 Arabic AED dinars, Arabic Emirate dinars. Then you have got salary of around 55,000 euros per year in Europe, mostly in Germany and France. At the base level, you're going to get a 55,000 average for full stack. If you go for Australia, $67,000 Australian dollars is going to be the base salary for a fresher in full stack. You go for UK, 30,000 pounds is going to be for a fresher who has just come out of the college and who know full stack. That is going to be the average salary for a fresher in UK, and in US it is going to be $50,000 per annum. So that's pretty good salary and a lot of job opportunities in full stack. So I think it's a good choice for you guys to look forward to learn and come out of the college, and you can as well go and join the jobs. They are pretty good jobs in the market. The next slide, please. Call to action. So for you guys, I would request you to go and build your own full stack and get comfortable. So you can take it as maybe you can learn MongoDB, the Express.js, the Angular, and the Node.js, or maybe also go into React. So that is what is my take is please look into the technologies which have been there from the front end, the back end, and the database. Choose your own stack, build upon it, and try to understand what are the new technologies that are coming up in the market so that you can be comfortable with them. And also there are many free online courses available in Udemy and Eduonics for the full stack. You can as well register to them and then gain knowledge. And nowadays, most of the paid courses are also getting free because of the COVID details. Most of the paid courses are also being given as free. So request you to check into the market and see where are the free courses going on. I might also help you out on the courses. If I find anything, I can share it with you guys. So go ahead, do learn these things and try to get comfortable with your own stack. Build your own stack. Maybe Mean, maybe Mern, maybe Maven, or maybe Lamp. So you can choose into any of the stack, get comfortable with it, and do learn the other technologies as such. Next screen, please. So yeah, these are my credentials. You can reach out to me in LinkedIn or Twitter or email. My phone is also available to you guys. So you can give me a call anytime and I can guide you as and when required. No need to wait for this. You can as well any point of time give me a call. Or you can shoot a mail to me where I can respond to you guys. That's it, guys. Thanks for listening. There has been hitch for some time, around 15-20 minutes in between when there was an issue with the screen sharing and the connectivity. Now I think everything is resolved and then we are pretty much on track. And this is where I stop my presentation as such. And I'm opening the floor for any questions. You can ask now. Maybe the presenter, you can unmute the people and then they can call me. Yeah, guys, any questions?
So they're asking about business logic, like where it is exactly written.
Business logic. Okay, business logic is being written in the backend technologies where you're going to work on your Java or Google Golang or the other technologies which I have mentioned there. So you can use any of them, PHP or so basically what happens is if you take a Java language, Java has got connectivity with the database. Let's take an example. Your front end is going to be your Angular and you're going to work on with Java. So then use Java to write your business logic, where Java can write can connect to your database, and it can shoot queries from Java. Or else maybe you can also write a stored procedures in your database in Oracle, and then these further stored procedures can be retrieved using Java language or Google Golang or PHP. So any language has connectivity to a database, and you just need to use the syntax for them, and then read the data from the database and display. Okay. Next question someone has asked, I think, which stack is more efficient. Currently, the MERN stack, MERN stack. The MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node.js is most commonly being used nowadays. But again, this is based on your situations and the projects. Based on the project, you have to come up with your own stack. That is where people are actually going to be looking forward, how you are going to add value to the project by giving them the required technologies. Most of the cases, even Cassandra now is pretty lightweight and it is pretty faster in retrieving data. So I'm just going to explain another concept which is called as CAP theorem. CAP is going to be consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. So most of your RDBMS doesn't support CAP theorem. They support your ACID properties. I think you should be already knowing. The ACID properties is atomicity, consistency, isolation, and D is what is the D? Isolation and one second. Can you check on the D? I just forgot it. The other one is going to be the CAP theorem, consistency, atomicity, consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. So consistency is where you are going to have your data. Suppose you are going to have different partitions, like one in Delhi, one in Hyderabad, one in Pune, and one in Bangalore. If you execute on any of the location, you are going to get the same data. That is consistency. Availability, system is never down. Any point of time, you're going to have the system and it's going to serve your details. And partition tolerance is where you're going to have multiple partitions for the same data, and data can be stored in different systems. So even if one system or two systems goes down, your availability is not going to get affected. So the CAP theorem is being supported by your NoSQL, where Cassandra supports AP, availability and partition tolerance, and MongoDB supports CP, consistency and partition tolerance. So that is where you are going to use your Cassandra or MongoDB as a backend, mostly as your databases, NoSQL database, which you can actually get you can retrieve huge data in pretty short time. So based on the situations, you are going to build your own full stack and provide value to the client. But as of now, the most commonly being used stack is MERN stack, MEVN, MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js.
Sir, I have built a small forum for my college, so I wanted to post in any of the server. Which is the best possible way to do, sir? Is it the AWS server, or can you please suggest me a good platform for the hosting?
AWS is what you have called something called as a free tier for AWS. You can actually use AWS for free tier, but in AWS again you have to check most of the cases. Suppose you talk about a virtual private cloud (VPC), and you're going to use machines. Only some machines are free tier, available in free tier. Some are going to be paid. So it says pay per use for AWS. So when you're using AWS, you need to be pretty careful in using the free tier. There are some of the particular things which are also going to be chargeable. So rather than that, go for a Google Cloud. Wherein in Google Cloud, the advantage is once you log in, they are going to give you $300 of dollars free free, and then you can for 1 year. So in this 1 year, you can actually go ahead and you can use Google Cloud. And in case if you exhaust your Google Cloud amount, $300, then maybe you can again create a Gmail account. So your Gmail account is only used for your Google Cloud. So you can create as many Gmail accounts, and you can use it for your Google Cloud. The moment you log into a Google Cloud with your Gmail account, you are going to get $300 of your free for Google Cloud. So that is where you can use, and you can every day you log in, you know how much amount is still pending for you. So that is going to be a better choice. Use Google Cloud as your cloud storage. You can create virtual machines on the Google Cloud. You can as well use storage from Google Cloud, and you can build it on your Google Cloud.
Sir, I have used MongoDB for storing my database. So it has been registered by a particular mail ID. So how I can change that mail ID? As you said that per year we can change the mail IDs. depending on the amount, right?
Create a new Gmail ID. Suppose if your Gmail ID $300 is expired, you have spent your $300, then and within 1 year, and you need to again use Google Cloud. Now create a new Gmail account on your name, and then use the Gmail account for a cloud. That's it.
Okay, sir.
So simple. So that is the advantage here. You can just create a Gmail account, and that same Gmail account can be used for your cloud, Google Cloud, and they give you $300. You can also use DigitalOcean, but that gives you only $60 of cloud. So DigitalOcean and AWS, you need to be careful to see where your money is being. Some cases in AWS, you use your database and you just log off without shutting down a database. That might be chargeable. So you need to be very careful when you're going to work with AWS, see what all things have been chargeable and what are them are free. So even in a free tier, there are some things which are chargeable. So you need to be more careful when you're going to work on AWS, because most of the people who I know got charged when they're using on AWS and they forgot to shut down or turn off the details, so that get charged. Whereas that will not be there in Google Cloud. Google Cloud, if your $300 get expired, you can as well create a new Gmail account and again log in. That's safer in terms of money.
So we have one question from
Please.
last year. How there is future for stack development as we have applications like WordPress?
WordPress is again just a tool which you are going to use it to build your websites. It gives you a lot of existing or available predefined screens, which you can use it and then you can build your own site. But again, that is where most of the code is being written in WordPress, and you're only going to use on top of it. Whereas if you're going to work on a full stack, you have a control on you. You are going to write your code. You need to know, whatever code you have written, how does it work? And you're able to see your code in the screen, and you understand the entire end-to-end functionality is with you. So you'll be more confident when you're going to do everything from the scratch. So I learned earlier cases, I learned from MFC, Microsoft Foundation classes, and then written on VC++. But MFC, where we need to write your own code, everything from the scratch. And in VC++, again, some of the code has already been written and you need to write on top of that. So it is how you need to choose yourself, which you are comfortable. If you are going to use your already inbuilt available technologies and build on top of that, you are welcome. Or you're also welcome if you're going to write everything from the scratch, because you'll have more control on it. Example, Java. If you write every code on Java, then you're going to have pure control with you. You can write everything. If you're going to write a machine language code for an thing, the same line of code, if you use R language, it can be done in 10 lines. If you use Python, it can be written in 20 lines. But if you use Java, you will write it in 100 lines. So the number of lines have been increased, but in Java, you're going to write everything from the scratch. So that is where it gives you more clarity, and you will have a more understanding of what you're writing. So that will be better thing, right? Do things from the scratch, better learn technologies end to end, and try to learn it. So that will give you more market, and you can resolve most of any kind of issues you face. You can resolve independently. Any other questions, guys?
If all the participants are clear, let's end the session now. On behalf of CSI Mvsr, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed for organizing this webinar on full stack development. At the outset, I thank our speaker, Mr. Kumar. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. We are thankful to our faculty coordinator, Amba Bhavani ma'am, for their motivation. A special thanks to the student coordinators and the student branch counselor for their support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to all the participants for active participation. We thank you all for your patience and sorry for causing the trouble. With this,
Jan, you can share my mail ID and phone number to the students. Then they can feel free to contact me anytime as such. I am ready to help them out. Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll be sharing the contact details of sir in the group. Feel free to contact sir for any further information or doubts. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's session. Thank you, one and all.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.